Hey guys, Danny with Danny Gustin Fitness Podcast here. This is a different one today. It's just me solo here. There's been a topic that's been coming up a lot recently. It's been personal, it's been professional, and that is just the growing epidemic of diabetes, of people who are glucose intolerant, and weight loss clinics, these weight loss medications. Are they helping? Are they hurting? I don't know. I think it's the sign of something much more nefarious than just weight loss clinics and diabetes. What's been going on? And so, full disclaimer, this isn't me saying that I'm against weight loss medications or bariatric surgeries or anything of the sort. It's just that I believe that there's a trend in society where we're increasingly looking at what's wrong with us and thinking that our circumstances are very special and unique, where the reality is, I'm going to go through some numbers here today. All of the top 9 countries who are high in pre-diabetic or diabetics are countries that have seen a huge increase in dietary shifts through processed foods, through sugar. We need to take a look at that, because at the end of the day, we can take these medications, which do have symptoms, they do have side effects, right? We can take these medications and we can look at ourselves and go, oh, well, it's me, there's something wrong with me. But that's not addressing the root cause. It's really not. And I think to really have a full solution, we need to be addressing the root causes of these issues. And I don't think this is just an important topic as an individual. I think this is an important topic for society as a whole. So I appreciate you guys being with me here. I hope you can bear with me on a little bit more of a rant today, because this is a topic I'm very passionate about, but I'm passionate about it for the right reasons. All right, so today, guys, this is going to be a little bit of a different podcast. This is in some ways going to be a rant. It'll be a controlled and educated rant, but there has been a topic that has been coming up a lot lately, not just in training, but with members in society, and it's driving me a little bit crazy, and so I have to talk about it, right? So, and that is the diabetes epidemic. And weight loss clinics, I'll get into that in a sec. So, the entire world right now is going through a diabetes epidemic, okay? So I did a little research prior to this to just kind of get an idea for what are the top countries that have high glucose intolerance rates. Glucose intolerance basically just meaning you are either diabetic or pre-diabetic, or you're glucose intolerant, which means you're moving in that direction, right? So China has the largest number of people who have diabetes in the world, 140 million cases. This is due to rapid urbanization, dietary shifts, and aging population. India has over 100 million cases of diabetes with high prevalence of prediabetes. A combination of genetic susceptibility and dietary changes have been a cause for this. Increased sugar and refined carbs play a role, okay? So as I'm going through this, guys, I want you to pay attention to things that stand out, okay? A lot of this you're going to hear about environmental shifts, food shifts, okay? Not human being shifts, the first two, okay? Other than the aging thing. We can't control that. We're all going to age, sadly. So, United States is number 3. Nearly 1 in 3 Americans has pre-diabetes. Over 37 million have diabetes. That's like 1/10 of our population. That's just ridiculous. High obesity rates and processed foods, food consumptions are key factors. High obesity rates, processed foods. Okay, again, human beings aren't not changing, right? Like, we have the same genetics we always have had. The environment is shifting. The food is shifting. Mexico, among the highest rates in Latin America, linked to excessive sugar consumption, especially soda, rising obesity. Okay? And guys, obesity is not a disease. It's a set of symptoms, right? There's a set of symptoms that lead to people being obese. So you're more just describing someone, okay? Indonesia, a growing problem due to increased consumption of processed foods and sedentary lifestyles. 6, Egypt, one of the highest diabetes rates in Africa, driven by high sugar intake and obesity. Pakistan, a diabetes crisis with poor access to health care, making worse. That sucks. Middle Eastern countries, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, high diabetes rates due to diets rich in sugar and fat combined with low physical activity. 9, last one, Brazil, rapid urbanization and a westernized diet. What is a westernized diet? We all know what that is, but processed foods, fried foods, sugar, and increasing the diabetes prevalence, okay? So first off, this is an epidemic that's facing the world right now, okay? And that's frustrating in itself, but what has been frustrating to me is lately, over the last several years, there's been this huge increase in weight loss clinics, okay? Now, I'm not saying weight loss clinics are inherently bad, but what I do have an issue with is a shift in society where we're getting further and further away from taking responsibility for ourselves, addressing the root causes of things, right? And looking for a magic fix, looking for that pill to fix everything, right? Now, again, I'll full disclaimer here because I have clients who are using these medications, some successfully, some unsuccessfully, some who were successful and then now are not successful now that they're off them, right? I think there's a place for it. If you're someone who knows full well you're not going to make the changes you need to make and you have serious morbidity issues that you're facing, for example, you're 150, 200 pounds overweight, you're diabetic, you have other heart, metabolic issues like hypertension, heart disease, etc. Yeah, if losing weight is the difference between you surviving and not surviving, then I guess get on this, do what you need to do, right? But for everyone else, the average person, have you really explored all your options? Have you really explored all your options? I think one thing we do sometimes in our society is we put too much weight into the medical industry and we forget sometimes that it's a business, right? Yes, are there doctors who care about people? There's many, most of them, right? I don't have an issue with doctors. What I have an issue with is these institutions that are money-making billion-dollar machines, and one of their primary roles is to make money. That is a topic that's come on this podcast many times. We've had physical therapists on here who admit that the business model is geared towards success for the business over the client and over the physical therapist. That tells you everything you need to know right there. I know someone who owns multiple weight loss clinics. He is not a vision of health. He isn't passionate about health. So what does that tell you? Did he get into it to help people, or did he get into it to make money? He's a businessman. So do you think when he's looking at his profit margins, he's overly concerned about how many lives he changed or how much money he made? He's not the exception to the rule, right? So we need to advocate for ourselves, and we need to peel back the layers of the onion to understand what is really going on here, okay? The U.S. weight loss industry hit $90 billion in 2023, driven by prescription weight loss drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy. Medical weight loss clinics are growing, valued at $1.09 billion in 2022, with a projected 4.29% annual growth. Meanwhile, traditional weight loss programs like Weight Watchers and Nutrisystems saw a 25% revenue decline between 2021 and 2023. I don't feel particularly attached to Weight Watchers or Nutrisystem, but something that upsets me about that is we are increasingly as a society looking to remove taking responsibility for ourselves. And we are becoming increasingly less intentional about our decisions in our life and understanding the fact that we are not victims to these circumstances. We are in the driver's seat. So if you look at what are these weight loss clinics really trying to do? They're trying to help people lose weight. How do you do that? There's a number of ways, but we know there's this increasing prevalence of weight loss medications. What is Wegovy or semaglutide? All these semaglutide compounds, what do they really do? They suppress appetite and they regulate blood sugar. Do you want to know how you can do that? Because we just had someone on the podcast, was it last week? Last week, who lost 40 pounds naturally. He's almost 70 years old, and he did it naturally, okay? What is naturally? Exercising makes you less insulin sensitive. Strength training makes you more insulin sensitive. More insulin sensitive for both of those things. All of these things to help you lose weight. When you're talking about reducing your blood sugar through nutrition, eating more fiber, eating less added sugar. You can have sugar through fruits and things like that, but less added sugar. Eating less processed foods, not drinking a ton. These are all basic things that we know. But again, we have this paradigm right now where I see this just happened recently. One of my clients' kids, who's in 25, is convinced there's something seriously wrong with his liver because he went to a weight loss clinic, and they're saying, all these numbers at him. Mind you, they're telling him all these numbers about his liver, but is this an endocrinologist or is this a weight loss doctor? An endocrinologist is an actual specialist in the liver. That's who you go to when you have liver issues. You don't go to a weight loss doctor to figure out what's going on with your liver. So I wonder if he went to an endocrinologist, which he plans on, and I will be checking in on this, what are we going to hear? What are we going to hear when you actually go to an endocrinologist who doesn't have any financial incentive to tell you there's something wrong with your liver? There's a confirmation bias. If someone says, hey, look at my liver and tell me why I'm not losing weight, well, you're going to be looking for something. But if someone says, hey, doc, I'm just getting my liver scanned, anything? No, looks like a pretty healthy liver. Maybe some of these numbers are getting in the direction, but all looks pretty good. But when you have that bias, you have that financial incentive, you're compromised to an extent, right? And I'm not saying the doctors and the people running these clinics are bad people, but we have to advocate for ourselves. I met with his son, going back to my client. Someone put him on a ketosis diet that he said, by the way, this kid is like 15 pounds maybe to lose, that he wants him on for 5 years. For those of you who don't know what ketosis is, it's basically peeing out ketones, which means you're in a state of ketosis because you're eating under like 50 to 20 grams of carbohydrates per day, right? So a 25-year-old who maybe has 15, 20 pounds to lose has been convinced he has fatty liver disease by someone who's not even a true specialist in livers. And by the way, they put him on metformin, which is a blood sugar regulation medication, right? All for what? I've come to find out the main catalyst for doing this was that he's having a hard time losing weight. But when I talk to my client and I ask him all the things he's tried with his son, he hasn't tracked what he's been eating. He hasn't done all the things he needs to do to be eating. So now we're down this rabbit hole of a kid who initially just went in for losing weight. Now he's almost lost sight of the fact that he's losing weight or wanted to do that, and more fixated on what's wrong with his liver. But is there really something wrong with his liver that would justify a 25-year-old being on a ketosis diet for 5 years? Try being on a ketosis diet for a day. This is ridiculous. It just drives me crazy. And I'll finish with this. So there's this paradigm that is becoming increasingly prevalent in the modern world, which is there's something wrong with you, right? The little kid who can't focus on school, that's a personal issue for me, right? That's heavy that's meaningful to me. I grew up being diagnosed with ADHD and struggling in school. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with the kid. Why isn't there something wrong with the system? Why is it okay to have kids sit for 8 hours a day, right? Why don't we ever ask that question, right? That's totally not normal, and it wouldn't have been an issue 100 years ago if I was on a farm with my great-great-great-great-grandfather, right? Because I'd be active and wouldn't have to focus on things that are uninteresting in the first place. Why is it a good human trait to be fixated on things you're bored with, right? Anyways, I digress. Same thing with this. So many people saying, oh, well, I have hormonal issues. I'm pre-diabetic. I've got this going on. And you know what? If you genuinely have a hormonal issue, that I totally get it. I have clients who have that, where maybe they have hypothyroidism or they have PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome. Those are real things, and I feel for anyone who has those. But this giant swath of people who are pre-diabetic all of a sudden, mind you that increase in being pre-diabetic is completely parallel to processed foods and added sugar. Oh, and also weight loss clinics. Isn't that interesting? So we need to get away from this paradigm that something is wrong with us. It's our environments that are wrong. It's our foods that are wrong. It's these systems that are wrong. We need to fight back at it. This is something I say to some of my weight loss clients who have a hard time losing weight, because it's really important. We got to get out of this mindset that something is wrong with us. 1,020, let's just say human beings have been around, I think most people would agree, at least 10,000 years. Some people would say 100,000 years, maybe more, right? But we all know for a long, long, long period of our history we were hunter-gatherers, right? So I train a client who says that they have a bad metabolism, right? Maybe they've always been a little hefty, right? Well, 10,000 years ago, when we were hunter-gatherers and in nomadic societies, if you took person A, who has shredded abs and has a very fast metabolism, and you took person B, who actually has a little bit of fluff around the edges, right? Who's going to die sooner when we're low on food? Okay? Person A is going to die sooner. And what's the most important thing at the end of the day for humans and for our ancestors? It's surviving. So who has worse genetics? The person who's inefficient with fuel has worse genetics, not the person who's efficient with fuel. You are the way you are, right? You can't change that. You can try your best to avoid making all of these natural changes you could with exercise, with nutrition, etc. You can try your best to do those things, but I have seen so many clients go the other direction over the years, where they've lost weight by exercising, by being healthier, and at the end of the day, none of them are in regret that they wish they did drugs in hindsight, right? But how many people who have gone the other direction, whether it be a bariatric surgery or weight loss medications, kind of wish they could do it all over again, really, if they could, because there's numerous side effects from doing it. Now, again, this isn't me sitting here and saying there's never a reason to do bariatric surgery. There's never a reason to be on weight loss medication. There's places for that. But at the end of the day, have you really tried everything? Have you really tried adjusting your diet? Have you really tried exercising? We're not going a great direction, guys. And, I don't like doing this where, I come off probably like I'm a little bit angry or harder on people. I've got a ton of love in my heart for everybody, and that's part of why I'm so upset, because it's not just about the weight loss stuff. It's just a shift in society where we all just want to picture ourselves like we're broken and that we need to be fixed and we need some magic pill to do it. And that's just not true. You are right the way you are. Take a look at your environment. Take a look at the support you have in your life, whether it be friends and family, and start making small little changes that can make a difference in your life. You can do this. It's going to be worth it. And my hope is that when I report on this 2 years from now and I type in ChatGPT, what are the weight loss clinic revenue goals, that they're decreasing. That's my hope, because it's not good. Anyways, thank you guys.